Good morning, children. We are here to discuss about animal tissues. Tissue, a group of cells. The term tissue can be defined as a group of cells. In biology, the branch of which deals with the tissue is histology. Histology is a branch of biology. In this branch, we study about tissues. So here animal tissues are mainly of four types as shown: epithelial, number 2 connective tissues, number 3 muscular tissues, and number 4 nerve tissues. These are the four major types. Among animals, the tissues are classified into these four categories, such as epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nerve tissues. But these tissues, how they are formed, how they are derived. These tissues are derived from different layer of the embryo. You know, embryonic layers. Different layers of the embryo help to form these tissues. Embryo. What is embryo? Embryo is formed from a zygote. And what is zygote? Zygote, which is 2N in condition, diploid in nature, because this zygote is formed from one haploid cell from male, another haploid cell from female. The gametes. What are gametes? Gametes are the sex cell. Male gamete, female gamete. Male gametes sperm cell, female gamete ova. During the sexual intercourse, during the copulation, what happens? There is a formation of this diploid zygote. N plus N. One from male parent, other from female parent. When they both unite, when these two haploid cells fuses, they forms a resulting 2N zygote. So zygote is formed as a result of fertilization. During fertilization, the diploid zygote forms. The cells present, only two cells present in this diploid zygote, they undergo repeated mitotic division. Mitosis happens several times, and that zygote now becomes a bunch of cells. And this bunch of cells, we call it as embryo. So in this way, embryo is formed, and that embryo is further having 3 layers. The embryo will have how many layers? 3 layers. There will be 3 layers in the embryo. How many layers? The embryo is composed of 3 layers. Like this. How many layers you are able to see here? 3 layers. Endo, and this is endo, and this could be a not endo. This will be a mesoderm. Okay, mesoderm. See here, the embryo is showing 3 layers. How many layers the embryo is showing? 3 layers. The inner one, what we are calling the innermost layer of the embryo, is termed as endoderm. It is inner. And the outermost layer of the embryo is endoderm, is outer layer. And the middle one is termed as middle layer. We can call it as mesodermal layer. In this way, the embryo is composed of how many layers? 3 layers of the embryo. So these animal tissues, among animal tissues are of how many types? Mainly they are classified into 4 divisions. There are main 4 types of animal tissues: epithelial, connective, muscular, and nerve tissues. Now, epithelial tissues are derived, they are formed from which layer of the embryo? Ectodermal. Which layer? Ectodermal layer, as well as endodermal. Endodermal layer means both the layers are responsible for the formation of these tissues in animals. In animals, Epithelial tissues are derived mainly from ectodermal layer. Few tissues among animals, like the tissues which are associated with digestive system, the stomach, muscles of the stomach, intestine, etc., they are formed with this endodermal layer also. So mainly when it comes, epithelial tissues in animal are derived from this layer, ectodermal layer. In addition to this, we can say few epithelial tissues are also formed from endodermal layer. And connective tissues, this is number 2, they are formed from mesodermal layer. Which layer? Mesodermal layer of the embryo. Mesodermal layer. They are formed by ectodermal layer as well as few of them endodermal layer. Now coming to the muscular tissues, they are also formed from mesodermal layer. Mesodermal layer of the embryo. And coming to the last one, but not least, nerve tissues, they are also formed from ectodermal layer. Ectodermal layer of the embryo. Is it clear, children? Now, see here. When we talk about this animal tissues are mainly classified into how many divisions? Among animal tissues, there are main 4 divisions. How many? 4 divisions. Epithelial, connective, muscular, and nerve tissues. So, how they are derived? In tissues in animals, they are formed by these different layers of the embryos are responsible for the formation of different tissues in animals, such as epithelial tissues are formed from ectodermal layer. In addition to this, the tissues in animal which are associated with digestive system, they are formed with endodermal layer also. So what is ectodermal layer? Ectodermal is outer layer of the embryo, and mesodermal layer, the connective tissues are formed with mesodermal layer. Muscular tissue and animal also formed with mesodermal layer, and the fourth one, nerve tissues are formed with ectodermal layer. So see here, ectodermal layer means the outer layer, and mesodermal is middle one, and endo means inner one. Ecto means out, endo means in. So in this way, these 3 layers of the embryo are responsible for the formation of tissues in animals. So we have already aware of this epithelial tissues. They are again squamous epithelium, ciliated epithelium, columnar epithelium, cuboidal epithelium. They have different divisions again. Among connective tissues, blood is there, bone is there, cartilage, ligaments. Different examples of connective tissue also we discussed. And coming to the muscular tissue, among muscular tissues, smooth muscle, cardiac muscles, voluntary muscles, involuntary muscles. These further types of this muscular tissue also we discussed. But now one more thing I would like to state that here these are the 4 animal tissues: epithelial, connective, muscular, and nerves. But they are, which one? The 4, number 4, nerve tissues are unique than these 3. Why the nerve tissues are unique than these rest 3 tissues? They have unique features. What is the unique feature we see among nerve tissues? Why epithelial tissues and connective tissue and muscular tissues are different, and this 4th one, nerve tissues, are different than these rest 3 animal tissues? Because epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscular tissues. Now the muscular tissue you can take example. They are present in the body muscles. Connective tissue example you can take blood, bone, ligament, tendon, various. And when it comes to the epithelial tissues, example where they are present in the skin of our body, different internal organs of our body, their outer lining, inner lining of various internal organs is composed with this tissue. And nerve tissues are where they are present. Nerve tissues are present in the organs like brain, spinal cord, and nerves. What are these 3 organs of our body are composed by this tissue? One thing, brain is made of nerve tissues, spinal cord is made of nerve tissues, as well as nerves are also made of this tissue. Then why they are unique than these rest 3? Nerve tissues are unique than these remaining 3 tissues, animal tissues, because they have lost the capacity, ability to divide. Nerve tissues divide only once. They divide only once during the lifespan. When they divide, division among nerve tissues, nerve cells, neurons occurs at only once during the embryonic stage. Just before I told you the example, during the sexual intercourse, compulsion at the time of fertilization, the male and female fuses. As a result of fusion between male and female, zygote forms. The zygote further undergoes several mitosis division, and it converts into a bunch of cell, and bunch of cell further grows, and we term it as embryo. During the embryo formation, during the embryonic stage only, nerve tissues are multiplied, they are divided. Means the division among nerve cells takes place during embryonic stage only. Later, once the embryo forms, the organs like brain, spinal cord and nerves are formed. The nerve tissue have further lost the capacity to divide further. Therefore, they are considered unique than other. They have these unique features. Nerve tissues have this special feature. Which special feature? They lost the capacity to divide. Nerve tissues divide only once during embryonic stage. Later, they have no ability, they have no capacity to divide further. They will not divide. Therefore, it is indicated that, it is estimated that if any damage occurs to the nerve tissue, that damage remains permanent. Why the damage remains permanent? If any injury or damage occurs to the nerve, that cannot be replaced. For example, you can take a disease polio. Polio is called by poliomyelitis virus. When the polio virus enters in the body, what happens? It destroys the nerve cells present in the particular limb, maybe a hand, forelimb, hindlimb, anywhere where it gets settled down essentially. The nerve cells, neurons, nerves present in that particular part where the polio is getting incubated, it is multiplying in our body. There, the nerve cells, neurons are spoiled or damaged, destroyed by that virus. Therefore, that particular part will lose the sensation. Therefore, we can say that any damage, any injury occurs to the nerve cell or neuron, that damage remains permanent. There is no cure. If any damage occurs to the epithelial tissue, connective tissue or muscular tissue, they have the ability, the cells present in this tissue, epithelial, connective, muscular, they can divide as per the requirement. Cells present in the epithelial tissue, cells present in connective tissue, cells present in muscular tissue, they keep on dividing, they keep on multiplying. They have an ability to multiply. Multiply means they undergo division process. The existing cells divide and new cells they produce. That happens among muscular, connective and epithelial tissue. But that feature is lacking. It is not there in nerve tissue. Then when they divide, they only divide during embryonic stage. Nerve tissues divide only once during the embryonic stage. Therefore, we call among these four types of animal tissues, they are different. They are different. They have unique features. This is the unique features of nerve tissue. So let us discuss about the structure and functions. As we discussed here just before, they are formed from which layer of the embryo? Ectodermal layer of the embryo. Nerve tissue's main function, what they are responsible for. And you know, these cells, different names we have. For example, cells present in the skin we call epithelial cells. Cells present in the pancreas, what we call islets of Langerhans. Cells present in the liver, what we call hepatocytes or hepatic cells. Cells present in the blood, what we call corpuscles or blood cells. Cells present in the kidney, what we call nephrons. Cells present in the other organ like lungs, what we call alveoli. For example, cells present in lungs are alveoli. Cells present in kidney or nephron. Cells present in blood are corpuscles. Cells present in liver are hepatocytes or hepatic cells. Likewise, cells present in the brain are neuron or nerve cell. What we call them? Nerve cell, or we can call them neurons. So, neuron is the other name of nerve cell. So likewise. So what organ, which part of our body is specially composed, made with this tissue? I insisted before indicated organs like brain, spinal cord, as well as nerves. These three parts of our body are made of this tissue, nerve tissues. Organs like brain, spinal cord and nerves are made of nerve tissues. When the nerve cell, we can call it as, for the nerve cell are known as neuron also. When nerve cells, what is their role, what is their function? They are mainly responsible, living organisms, living beings have a specific feature. What is the specific feature among living organisms? They have an ability to respond to a stimulus. What is stimulus? Stimulus may be any change in the surrounding. Living organisms have the ability to respond to the change, to the stimulus. Any kind of stimulus, when a living organism come across, it has an ability to show reaction towards the stimulus. And this ability, this property in living organisms present due to nervous system. Our body is composed with a nervous system. We call it as human nervous system. And the human nervous system enables the living organism to react, show response towards the change. So we are saying that living organisms are capable of responding to the stimulus, different kind of stimulus they come across. This property among living organisms is present due to presence of nervous system, and the nervous system is composed of nerve tissues, and the nerve tissues, such as they make a brain, this organ, spinal cord and nerve. As the nervous system is composed of these three organs collectively form which system in our body? Nervous system. And for the formation of these organs, which cells are responsible? Nerve cell or neuron, and these are present in the nerve tissues. So nerve tissues or nerve cells, what they are responsible for? When we come across any stimulus is applied on our body. Stimulus may be what is stimulus exactly? In a simple term, we can call any change in the surrounding. Maybe temperature, light, sound, sense, feel, touch, taste, different kind of any change in the surrounding may be termed as stimulus. So any stimulus is applied on our body. The nerve cells, the neurons present in the body, what they do? They generate a small electric potential in the form of impulse. A small electric potential generated by nervous cell or neuron when any stimulus is applied on our body. That small electrical potential generated by this cell, we call it as nerve impulse. So generation of nerve impulse when any stimulus is applied, this job, this function, this role is performed done by this cell. Not only this, generating the nerve impulse from that particular place where the stimulus is applied, generation of nerve impulse from the site of stimulus, location of stimulus. From there, it goes to spinal cord. Via spinal cord, it is sent to the brain. Once it is sent to the brain, that stimulus in the form of small electric potential, that is again it is brought back by them only, nerve cells only. And the moment, the signal, when it is sent by the nerve cell neuron, when any stimulus is applied, that signal we are calling nerve impulse. When the nerve impulse from that site of stimulus via spinal cord, when it reaches the brain, in the brain it is analyzed by the brain. After analyzing, it gives the brain send back the information in the form of answer, response. Again back they will bring, and the organism is able to know what kind of stimulus it is, and it starts behaving accordingly. So this is the function performed by nerve cells. So the structure, when the nerve cell or neuron, when they are observed under microscope, how it looks like the nerve cells mainly they will have cell body, is it? That you are already aware. The nerve cell, when observed under microscope, it will have, this is cell body. What it is? Cell body, beside this, or cyton also we can call. Cell body or cyton. In this, the cytoplasm will be there, and nucleus will be there. Along with nucleus, nasal granules will be there. Several dots we can see in the cytoplasm, cell body of the neuron. And around this cell body of the nerve cell, several fibers arise, branches will be arising, taking the origin. These branches which are arising around the cell body of nerve cell we call them dendrites. What we call them? Dendrites. Let me erase this, please. What are these several branches arising from the cell body of nerve cell? Dendrites. And what is this called? Cell body or cyton. Cyton we can call or cell body of the nerve cell. Cell body. And a long fiber arising from this cell body. This long fiber is called axon. And the axon is further covered with a box-like structures. And these box-like structures are leaving a gap at regular interval. Can you see the gap among these box-like structures? This long fiber arising from the cell body, we calling it as axon. Whereas the axon is further covered with several box-like structures. They are called myelinated sheath. What we call them? Myelinated sheath. The gap, the myelinated sheath, these boxes are called myelinated sheath. And this gap left by this myelinated sheath is called node of Raichur. Nodes of Raichur. And at the end, these are nerve terminals or nerve ending. Nerve terminals or nerve ending also we can call them. Nerve endings. So this is the structure of nerve cell. When we observe the nerve cell under microscope, it looks like this. It shows these parts. And here, these are nasal granules. This is the nucleus of the nerve cell, the center nucleus, and these are the nasal granules. The dots around the nucleus you can see. Those dots we can call nasal granules. These nasal granules produces the synthesize the chemical we call generally neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter chemical is synthesized with the help of nasal granules present in the cell body cyton of the nerve cell. That chemical is called neurotransmitter. Production of neurotransmitter in the cell body of neuron is made or done or performed by several dots around the nucleus. We call them nasal granules. So this is the structure of a nerve cell or neuron when we observe it under microscope. And what are its functions? We know neurons or nerve cells are responsible to generate a nerve impulse when any stimulus is applied on the body. So this is about the nerve tissue, children. The further part of this, different types of nerve cells, their functions and all, will be continued in our next session. So we'll stop here. Thank you.